OpenAI has recently acquired yet another company. This is a AI personal finance startup called Hiro. So today we're going to talk about that and get into it. But before we do, Jaden, why don't you tell them about our school community?
Yeah, every single week we record a bonus piece of content for our school community, how we're growing and scaling our businesses with AI. This week, Jamie recorded a video on how he is using, essentially, how he created an AI customer support voice assistant. So when you call his business, um, there's like an AI that answers. It's super smooth, super fluid. It tells you everything you want to know about his business. It sets you up with a discovery call with Jamie if he's not there. And this is something that I think basically is incredibly valuable for every single startup, business, service business, people that are starting agencies, rolling this out for other businesses. There's so many opportunities here. So this is just kind of another component of Jamie's AI marketing company that he's starting right now, Search Saddle. So, anyways, go check that out if you want to. It's in the AI Hustle School community, along with hundreds of incredible community members, like 100 different videos of us breaking down different strategies, ways we're growing and scaling our businesses with AI. It's all in there for it's only $19 a month. So it is a huge discount, but we'd love to have you as a member of the community. And yeah, there's a link in the description. Okay, let's talk about what's going on with OpenAI right now because I was sort of blown away by this. I mean, I just feel like OpenAI's been on an acquisition tear lately, but it's not always the companies that you would think they're going to be acquiring. So they've acquired this company, which is a personal finance company. It's called Hiro. And I want to break down why I think they bought this. But I guess, Jamie, to you, anything stand out to you with just like this acquisition in general coming from OpenAI right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, like that they're just buying up so many companies. First of all, maybe they see them as competition. Maybe they want some of the technology. I'm not really sure exactly, but I think the more tools they can, we've talked about this in past podcast episodes, but the more tools they can provide to like the average person who uses ChatGPT, the more valuable their company is going to be, the more users they're going to have. Claude, as of right now, is one of those specialized tools I think a lot of business owners are using, but I think OpenAI is targeting more of the, average person who's using ChatGPT for everyday questions, things like that. So I think a financial planner could be a really good addition to that. And a lot of people would definitely be willing to take the advice of OpenAI in regards to their personal finances. So, but yeah, what have you heard about this company specifically? What is unique to them?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and just say that the founder, Ethan Block, is not like I don't know, a new founder. He previously started a company which was called Digit. Digit was a kind of like a digital only bank. And it was kind of like helping you automatically save money. That was actually sold to Opportune in 2021 for about $200 million. So he's been in the
Wow.
game. He had a whole post talking about how Hero was going to be joining OpenAI. He posted it over on his LinkedIn. One thing that stood out to me is that Hero actually had a bunch of top tier VCs. So they did raise money. What's interesting is they actually haven't disclosed how much they've raised, and they didn't disclose how much they're getting acquired for. But they did raise money from General Catalyst, and Ribbit and Restive. But I mean, General Catalyst, this is like top five VC firms. So they raised money from a huge VC firm. He obviously has a really good background track record with starting this and also in specifically in personal finance. I think right now what it signals, this is probably closer to an acquihire, if I'm being honest. Just that would be that's how I kind of classify this, just considering they didn't say how much the company raised, they didn't say how much the company made, they didn't say how much they were getting acquired for. When all the numbers are gone, I feel like it's kind of an acquihire. He's obviously incredibly talented. He's got a really talented team. If you go over to LinkedIn and dig into the company a little bit, it looks like they have about 10 to 14 employees, I believe. So this isn't like a huge company in any means, but obviously very talented. And so I think OpenAI right now is really trying to build out some of their niche specific products. And I think they're following a strategy that Anthropic and Perplexity are both doing right now. Perplexity is kind of like Perplexity Finance. Anthropic has they have, Claude Healthcare, they have Claude Finance, they have Claude Legal. Like they kind of have these like different segments and they build tools specifically for those verticals. Now I know everyone complains because they're like, oh my gosh, I have a friend and he works at a really big legal company, and it's like publicly traded. And when Anthropic launched their Anthropic Finance, the stock of that company like tanked. It's just like went off a cliff because everyone's like,
Huh.
well, like, why do we need this, this legal company that has AI embedded in it, who's probably running on top of Claude when Claude's going to do their own legal thing? Now, I think the answer is that Claude is never going to go as deep in any vertical and hit every feature of every single niche, because they still have so much, focused on the overarching model. So I think if you're really specifically hitting one area, you can do quite well still. Um, but it is an interesting question. I talked to him a lot about that. And I think that this is really a strategy because Anthropic, I mean, every time they hit a new vertical like that, and every time all those the stocks of all those companies kind of crash, I mean, it's clout for them. And when they do their next fundraising round, they're like, yeah, we're hitting all these verticals, we're getting all these extra users in all these other areas. And so I think Anthropic has played that really well, and I think OpenAI would like to clone that. So they're going to go acquihire Ethan Block and a bunch of other players in finance, and they're going to try to build out a really solid finance specific OpenAI offering. And I think we'll see that in a handful of niches, similar to what we've seen with Anthropic.
Yeah, this is an interesting part of the article that I'm reading. It says it's possible that this is an effort to make OpenAI more popular with OpenClaw users who often tend to prefer Claude. OpenClaw is a popular agent for robo stock trading. I guess I haven't heard that people have been using
Oh yeah.
OpenClaw to trade stocks. That sounds very risky, but apparently they are. Have you heard about this, Jaden?
Yes, I've actually seen a lot of posts on LinkedIn about it. It's so hard though, and I don't really like amplify them a lot because it's so hard to know what's fake and what's real. Like on X, basically, I'll see posts that are like, I have this like OpenClaw bot, and look at I have it blah 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 doing this, and it's never lost. Something that I think I see a lot of them do is they'll go to like Polymarket, right? The betting on like events website, and they'll go and find there's just these interesting automations I've seen like that are just kind of clever, and it's not because the people setting them up are like intrinsically clever because they'd probably be working at a hedge fund if they were. It's because they can essentially identify insider traders. So they'll go and look for brand new wallets that have sat dormant for a long time and then make really big outsized bets. So examples of this are like, before the US announced strikes on Iran, or right after the US announced that they were in peace talks with Iran. Like or sometimes like with like football games and other things, it seems sketchy, but basically, yeah, there was one where there was you kind of see like these news stories all the time. People see the wallet make these like someone will like bet $400,000 that Iran is going to be invaded by the United. Like I think that was one that the U.S. was going to
Huh.
go invade Iran
Interesting.
by the end of the month, and U.S. did invade on like the last day of the month or something. But like basically, the odds were so low in the poly market, like no one was betting it, and then all of a sudden, this huge bet comes out at like $400,000, and it made like $20 million in like a day or something. And everyone's
Huh.
like, well, that's crazy. So I bring all this up to say there's like all this kind of interesting insider trading stuff, and people have set up these OpenClaw bots to go and identify patterns of dormant wallets that make outsized bets on things, and it copies them. So I've seen like a lot of this kind of stuff. Now, like, is
Hmm.
it real? How do they do it? Like, they're like, I'm printing money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you read the comments, and like a lot of people call them scammers, and some people say they're real. So I don't really know. I don't amplify it a lot because I have no idea. But evidently, if OpenAI is focusing on more on that, they can see the actual data of usage. So, whether they're going to endorse anyone's, degenerate OpenClaw trading bot algorithm or plan or prompt is completely different. But if they can see a ton of people are using it for that, I think that they'll put resources into that direction. So might be true.
But apparently, this guy, Ethan Block, the founder of Hiro, he has created his own auto trading bot called Robo Buffett and on OpenClaw. So maybe people like maybe he's underground famous for this trading bot. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know. That seems like a stretch that they're hoping to draw in OpenClaw users into OpenAI, but could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously is a smart guy. He's been around in this industry for a while, so I mean, I wouldn't count him out. It does seem like a solid acqui-hire. I mean, the company isn't that old. It's from 2023, and they only launched their AI tool about 5 months ago. I'm assuming they had some good ideas. They probably didn't see the crazy adoption that they wanted. How their app worked was essentially like a user would go and put in like their financial info, salary, debt, monthly costs, and then It would basically differentiate a bunch of different what if scenarios that would help them make good financial decisions. Like, what if you saved this much money? What if you did this? And it would kind of forecast out where you would be in the future. So I think overall, it's probably a good idea. They probably just didn't have the distribution, or I don't know what their company lacked. But evidently, OpenAI saw this as an awesome opportunity. Probably wanted to just pull in the team and a bunch of features because their whole app is shutting down. Their servers are shutting down. They only went out for 5 months. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what financial product spins out of OpenAI in the next few months based off of this acquihire.
Yep. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this episode or got any value out of it, we would really appreciate a rating or review wherever you listen. Those really help our podcast out a lot and help us reach more people. And again, check out the AI Hustle School community if you want to actually learn how to use some of these tools to make money online using AI or even grow your business. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.